How far away from the World Trade Center specifically are you? It's 8:54 right now, sir. Can you tell me when this happened exactly? Were you looking up as the plane approached the building, or did you only call your attention after it came to the World Trade Center? So there's no way you can know whether or not it seems to be in trouble.
I'm going down today. One of my
It's hard for us to tell
friends was
from
in
the
town.
picture
I
we're
don't know
seeing
her.
just
She's in
how
town
far
and
down from the
she's
top that
staying
plane
with my
crashed.
computer night, but she's all by herself. So she was like, you guys should come down. So me and one of my other roommates are going down, but neither of us really know her. It was really fun. Great hotel, great pool. Exactly. What did you do in town? It was my cousin.
Hi, Maggie.
So fun. First time I was going on campus.
Which was?
I was checking.
Nelson and
Bro, the quiz was hard. Oh, I haven't even checked. I've been scared. I literally knew like none
wait,
of the
which
answers.
one?
I just remember something. Oh, really? I made up something for the Nadia, whatever. It's on my iPad. Oh, me too. What did you say? Because, I think I
Yeah,
asked
this is
you
the silk
about it.
one that I'm trying to solve the proof.
Oh, I know I did too, but I couldn't remember it. Really? Just like that. I think they brought something like that was encouraging. That's what I said. I'm sure I can remember this.
I can share a location with you.
That's so rude.
Yeah, that's
Oh, wait, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. No, I went down outside this morning and I was like, I wish that it was free. I went to the class and it was like, finish before 11.
We were just
And I didn't want to wait until 11.
So we didn't know.
I'm so mad. What time did you get?
Like today? Yeah, that's my last one.
Oh, really?
How do you know that?
I'm gonna get Aloha. I'm gonna go get Aloha.
I just made something up and then I
After like 4. No, 3. Wait, 21,
Yeah,
2.
yeah.
Wait, 4, 1. No, 2. Yeah, 2 o'clock. We're gonna go to Aloha Center after this.
That's alright, we'll just keep doing it when we catch on.
And
my back report, but I might just be like around.
If you want to, come catch me now.
36.
All right, brothers and sisters, aloha.
Aloha.
Let me get the door in the back. Just a little bit. I'm gonna take out my mask, but I'll stay up in this corner. So. Aloha, welcome. I'm Brother Wetton. Let's start with a prayer, and then we'll just jump right into the lesson. Brother Millerberg wanted me to tell you all about myself and my career. That sounds pretty boring to me, frankly. Let me just say this. If you from Utah or visited Utah and have had really, really good, authentic Hawaiian shave ice, I get some credit for that. So I 2002, really started pushing the Hawaiian shave ice in Utah and built it. And so that's about all you get about me. Any volunteers for prayer? Thank you.
Our Father in heaven, we're so grateful today we have Brother Wetton here to speak to us and to learn about his career and his experience for the business leadership class. And we're grateful for this wonderful opportunity that we can come back on campus and together to learn. And pray the spirits can be with us so we can learn from for awakening, and we can learn how to be a better leader in our lives. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So the morning of 9/11, 2001, I was working in Washington, D.C. I'll show you where. One of my coworkers came in, small office, the church's office in Washington, D.C., just a small group of us there. Coworker came in and said, "You see the news? There's a airplane that hit one of the skyscrapers in New York City." So we turned on the TV in the conference room, we were watching it.
I hear alarms going off down there. What's happening?
And this is amazing. It's just, they're talking with guys on the street, they're just calling into the news. This is Brian Gumbel, top
They had
news
to back into the
guy.
hotel.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Are you hearing anything, Wendell, about what kind of a plane it was, or how many were on board?
No.
All right, Mr. Klein, thank you very much, sir. I understand Teresa Renault is with us right now. Ms. Renault.
I apologize for a little bit of
This is
language.
Brian Gumbel. I'm down on 59th and 5th. Where are you?
I am in Chelsea, and we are at 8th and 16th. We are the tallest building in the area, and my window faces south, so it looks directly onto the World Trade Center. And I would say, approximately 10 minutes ago, there was a major explosion from probably, looks like about the 80th floor. It looks like it's affected probably 4 to 8 floors. Major flames are coming out of.
So at this point, we're watching the news, is this like a plane, like just a small plane, the navigation got stuck and there's an accident? What happened? We're just,
Followed by flames, and it looks like the
we're
building.
talking to people on the street saying, what's going on?
Which building were you talking about? The one that's westernmost?
Let's see, yes, sir.
Did you hear the explosion
Oh,
from
yes.
your position?
Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, we heard it, and because I was just like standing there pretty much looking out the window, I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
So you have no idea right
Oh,
now?
there's another one, another plane just hit. Right, oh my gosh, another plane has just hit, another building, flew right into the middle of it, explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
This one into the east tower.
Yes, right in the middle of the building. And right now, that was definitely looked like it was on purpose.
You saw a
Yes,
plane?
I just saw a plane go into the building.
Why do you say that was definitely on purpose?
It's because it just flew straight into it. It looks like it's about, I would say 15 floors lower than the first building, and there's now flames coming out of that building as well. They're both completely on fire.
Now, Teresa, hang on with us 1 second. We're gonna re-rack the tape of when we were talking to you to see if we can tell.
Okay.
We can't see anything. We can't see a second plane in the picture. There we see the explosion.
So we were just sitting watching this happen. And this is, of course, our topic for the day, how to lead and follow in times of massive uncertainty. This is Washington, D.C. Here's the White House right here. This is the U.S. Capitol building where Congress is at. This is the Pentagon down here. You can see the 5 sides. My office is in that building right there. So we were a little nervous, quite nervous. When that second plane hit, all of a sudden it went from, what happened, a plane, what's going on, to something bad just happened, really bad. Small church office, about 8 of us there. So our boss was a stake president in the area. He was an old Army colonel. He had been through the Vietnam War. He had seen war. He had been through all of it. He was a tough dude. An old stake president, tough Army dude. The first plane hit, we're all watching, and he's like, the second plane hit, and instantly his demeanor changed. All of us, of course, our demeanor, like, we're nervous, we're scared. So his demeanor changed, and I think I need to close that. just a little bit later, within, I don't remember, 20 minutes or something, there was a plane that hit the Pentagon, which I showed you on that map.
Darren, I'm standing in Lafayette Park directly across from the White House, perhaps about 200 yards from the White House residence itself. Secret Service has pushed most people.
So this is the Pentagon back over here. This seems like our view. We could see it just about like that. Some smoke. We couldn't see the building, but we could see some smoke.
People have come running out of the White House and the old executive office building, which is the office building right directly across from the White House. About 10 minutes ago, there was a white jet circling overhead. Now, you generally don't see planes in the area over the White House. That is restricted airspace. No reason to believe this jet was there for any nefarious purposes, but the Secret Service was very concerned, pointing up at the jet in the sky. It is out of sight now, best we can tell. They've evacuated the entire White House staff and the old executive office, as well as some townhouses that are government offices. Many of our viewers might know Blair House, where other international leaders stay when they are in Washington. That townhouse has been evacuated as well, and they're pushing us now back toward 8th Street.
So
That's Main Street.
this happened, this that you're watching here, is about an hour after the first one we just watched.
We're also getting reports at the Capitol.
So
Treasury building
everybody of
also
course
being
is sitting there watching the
evacuated.
news.
John,
Now we can see out the window, see the smoke.
Orderly, did you see
And
empty? How would you characterize it?
It
The
started
whole
off-
government, all the government buildings are evacuating. White House, Capitol, the Pentagon. And so it's pretty clear America's under attack and everybody's leaving their offices, getting to safety, whatever.
I'm also told that prior to that, and we don't know the current situation, that the vice president and other
The President of the United States was in Florida at in a school, an elementary school, at a little event reading to kids. When he learned about it, he gave a very brief statement. Immediately they got him on his plane, Air Force One. He said, "We're going back to Washington. I'm the president, I'm in charge, I'm going back." They quickly decided they didn't know if it was safe for him in Washington. They got a word of another plane that had been hijacked. It was out over, I think it's from Boston and was coming through Pennsylvania, had been hijacked. And security, military, everybody quickly realized, we don't know how many of these planes have been hijacked, where they're headed, what they're targeting, we just don't know. So President Bush ended up flying for 8 hours. They figured the safest place for him, they put him out over the ocean, and they flew around for 8 hours. Came down a couple of times for fuel, but they just kept him over the ocean. This was back in the day before you could watch the news on your seat in front of you. So they were up, the White House, or the president and his chief staff and those guys are up in the air, fairly removed from communication. Everybody's on their phones, calling their family, "Are you okay?" and crying and everything. The Air Force One with the president was stuck in the air with little information what was going on the ground, little ability to call, and just really, and the CIA and people on the ground were fairly quick figuring out who they thought it was, Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden. Within hours, they kind of nailed that down. But they did not know how many of these hijackers were out there, how many of these terrorists were out there, other planes. There's reports, so we're in our office, my boss says, everybody's going home. All the subways, everything was shut down. Just walk out of the city, find a ride. So he and I, we lived both out in this direction. We just started walking, we crossed over this bridge, found a guy that was driving, he offered us a ride, so we got a ride with him a little ways further out of the city. And then my boss's wife came to pick us up, took us to their house, and my wife came, picked us up, or picked me up, took me home. Had a 4-month-old baby at the time. Everybody went home and just sat and watched the news for like 4 days. There was everything closed down, all events, store, everybody just like, we don't know what's going on, America is under attack. The the day the world stopped turning. It felt like the world just stopped for a few days. Within hours, they had a pretty good idea who it was, but they didn't know what else was out there. All planes in the air across the United States were ordered to find the nearest airport and land. And the people got off the planes and found a hotel if they could, and rented a car if they wanted to drive home or whatever. Planes that were coming from other parts of the world, they said, you cannot land in the United States. So they went to Canada, Mexico, and some of them, like 2 or 3 planes ended up in this tiny little airport, tiny little town in Nova Scotia, top of Canada, and the people in the little village community had people sleeping at their houses. It was just like everything stopped. We don't know what's going on. We don't know other bombs that are out there. We just don't know. And so everything shut down for a few days. We sat and watched the news. All across the world, people, it was actually an amazing time of everybody's united. There's a big headline in France, we are all Americans. The whole world just kind of like, if the United States can get attacked like this, absolutely completely surprised and devastated, and attack the Pentagon or military headquarters, then nobody, nowhere in the world is safe, is just how everybody felt. It was a few days before things started to get going just a little bit again, and all the security checkpoints you have in the airports now, and that is all since 9/11. So, with that introduction, we're going to be talking about today how to lead and to follow in times of massive uncertainty. So what are some other instances of situations with this massive uncertainty? COVID. So 9/11, at least the first few days after, there was just massive uncertainty. The COVID pandemic. Were you in my class last March when school got shut down and everything?
Yep.
I think you were. Who was here on campus? Probably at least a few of you. And wherever you're at, it was just all of a sudden, like the middle of March, is just chaos. We don't know what to do. The universities start sending everybody home that they can, and if your country's borders are already closed, they're like, go find somebody on the mainland to live with, and here's a phone number or something. You know, it was just kind of, everybody was scrambling. What are some other examples from history, from kind of business world perhaps, even from scripture, the times of just massive uncertainty?
Hurricane Katrina.
Hurricanes. Hurricane Katrina and else, that is just, yeah. You lose all communication, you lose power, you don't know, there's massive flooding, you don't know, yes, good. What else?
Depression.
Sorry, a little bit louder. Depression?
Depression.
Great Depression? Yes. Not knowing how to get out of this, when it's gonna get out. Yes, good. What else?
I know, the riots last year.
The riots. That, yes, to me that's on a smaller scale. There's that uncertainty built in, but not at quite the scale of these.
Yeah, definitely not the same scale. But
What examples from scriptures?
The death of Christ.
The death of Christ, the apostles. Can you imagine what, he's been there and they've followed him and they're ready to go and whatever he wants, and he just always is there to teach him and lead him, and suddenly he's gone. So there's a church kind of in turmoil, there's a political situation, not sure what's going to happen with Herod and all that. Good. Death of Christ, Peter and the apostles, massive uncertainty. Anything else?
In the scriptures, like the flood, like Noah and the ark, and like the flood.
Noah and the ark. Yeah, there are some, the Old Testament and Moses in Egypt trying to get him out, and the party of the rest. Yeah. Good. Anything else?
I think just like all the wars in the Book of Mormon, like the stripling warriors and like the Qur'an and everything.
There's times that they were just blind, going into situations blind, and the political situation at home, Captain Moroni, the political situation at home is unknown. Good. I kind of think through the time of Joseph Smith too, for a very young church, and Joseph Smith getting thrown into jail, and the people getting driven out, and Zion's camp, all the men taken off, and what a difficult time that was, trying to lead the early church. All right, so what characteristics do leaders need in these situations?
Consistency.
Consistency. Good. What are you thinking about?
They need to know how to act under pressure, and they need to remain composed and consistent in their manner of leadership and their way of telling people what to do. They can't like visibly get stressed out and be like panicking, because that's definitely going to create panic among everybody who they're leading.
Good. You don't want a leader panicking. George Bush or good. This is good, right in line. This is he's a professional athlete, mental coach, so helps the athletes think through. Leaders who excel under pressure don't panic. They understand that calm is contagious. In this thread, I share how one of the best astronauts in the world developed a high tolerance for pressure. Can we start in the back corner and read a paragraph and just kind of go nice and loud, everybody?
During a spacewalk, something got into Hadfield's eyes and they slammed shut. He was in excruciating pain in the middle of space, holding on with one arm for dear life. The mission was important and he had no margin for error.
The irritant was a solution used to fog his visor. Tears developed, but without gravity, the chest stimulated and become a ball of heavy moisture stuck to the eye. Due to the spacesuit, he couldn't rub his eyes. He was in a lot of pain and couldn't see outside the spacecraft.
Thank you. So he can't see. He's got this thing that's kind of stuck to his eye. He can't see, and he's in his suit. He can't just rub his eye. Thank you. Next. Can you read the bottom? Can you see the bottom from back there? That wasn't very smart, huh? I'll read the bottom. Instead of panicking, Hadfield considered his options. Call Houston, which is the ground control, ask a fellow astronaut to rescue him, or figure out a way to get the job done. Okay, somebody in the back, keep going.
After weighing all of the options, he decided to find a way to dilute the dunk and ease the discomfort himself. He opened a vent on the side of his helmet, letting oxygen out to evaporate the mixture from his eyes. The pain worked, and he continued working.
Thank you. Over here on the right.
How did Chris Hart fail to stay calm and collected in a highly stressful situation? His answer is simple yet profound. The best
Antidote?
Antidote for fear is competence.
Competence. Thank you.
Hartfield was trying to prepare for the wars. He spent hours rehearsing
Scenarios
and developing problem-solving skills in the midst of the chaos. He said it takes a boldness of execution to overcome fear. Fear is just a symptom of lack of preparation.
Thank you. So a couple of lessons here. Turn down your level of stress by turning up your level of readiness. So preparation in advance. And then the Navy SEALs, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. You may have missed it in the beginning. I wanted to make sure you got this. Calm is contagious. So going to this idea of leaders panic, then that spreads to the people. If the leader is calm in these situations, then that's contagious. That spreads to the people as well. Good. What else? So back to the question of What characteristics do leaders need? So kind of calm under pressure, consistency.
I would say hope or something like that, just to keep, I don't know, I feel like if you're not really hopeful, like, whatever that
Some
was.
optimism, some,
Right,
yes.
exactly.
Good, very good, thank you. What else? I should have a, go ahead.
They need to come up with a plan of what they're gonna do after.
So figure out what you're doing, get a plan. Excellent. What else?
Learning from past experiences, I think.
Okay.
Similar situation that you can apply to the new situation.
Okay, good. Try and kind of with that, I'll add probably bring in some experts. Make sure you're getting the best help you can. Good. What else?
Decisiveness.
Decisiveness. So what is that? Explain that.
Kinda, how do I explain this? Kinda make decisions right off the bat.
Okay, anybody want to have, because yes, making decisions, but what is, keep going with that. Anybody want to help add to that?
Someone who can evaluate a situation, look at all the options and make a decision that's gonna be best for you or the team.
So it's kind of making a decision, evaluating everything, and just making a decision and sticking to it. Don't second guess. So make your decision and just go the best you can based off of that decision. Be decisive. Good. What else?
I think you have to know how your coworkers feel, or like get a consensus of how they're.
Okay, so this word came up in Friday's class. I was here. What's the term? That's part of it, but emotional intelligence, and empathy is very much a part of that. Good. So emotional intelligence. This is emotional intelligence. Again, the definition is being able to understand. You said it well. Understanding what your coworkers or anybody, whoever, yourself and others, understanding what people are feeling, and honoring that. I don't know if that's the right word, but to acknowledge that, to honor that, get that they're feeling scared, that they're nervous, and acknowledge that that's a genuine human emotion. You can't just, don't be scared. They're scared. Let's deal with it. This is a George W. Bush. He was the president at the time of 9/11. And about 3 days later, the 14th, he went to New York City. And at this point, there's firefighters who are trying to clean up the mess, sort out what's going on. They're digging through the rubble, seeing if anybody's still alive. The tower's collapsed. They're standing right now on a fire truck that had been burned and just demolished, basically. And he's surrounded by police and fire workers and construction guys. And let me show this to you. This is, people say George W. Bush, this was his finest moment as president. He had given speeches, and he's reading the prompter right at 9/11, and this was pretty unscripted. It was just him up there, and pay attention to the emotional intelligence that he displays here.
I want you all to know, you can't go anywhere. I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer
my favorite things is his arm around the guy next to him. He just is there, and it's like everybody in America is just putting their arm around our shoulders saying, we're praying together, we're sad together, but we're going to come back. And just great emotional intelligence. Pretty much everybody, Republicans, Democrats, those that just hated George Bush for who he was as a president, everybody, he nailed it. The emotional intelligence here, he just nailed it. This was 3 days later, and we'd all been sitting at home watching the news for 3 days, and they're just showing the video clips over and over and over again. And then he comes out, and just the emotion, it was a powerful, powerful moment. Emotional intelligence is significant. It's a big. There we go. I want to go back to another one. Somebody talked about having hope and optimism and projecting some confidence. This is George Bush later. So this is actually about a month and a half later. We'll watch this other video clip. By then, life has started to return to normal a little bit. There's new security. There's still a lot of unknowns about other terrorists that might be in the country. They think they've got all the terrorists rounded up, but they're not sure. And it's a World Series, this is America, is baseball, American baseball. This is World Series. It's the New York Yankees against Arizona. Arizona, whoever they are. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. And George Bush, and people kind of want him. He's a baseball guy too. He's a big baseball guy before he's president. And they want him to come and do the kind of the ceremonial first pitch. Just kind of a show of strength, of confidence in the United States. And there was massive security for everybody coming into the stadium, new metal detectors, searching bags. They just really hadn't done much of this before. And now they're doing it to everybody, everything. And
tonight's ceremonial first pitch. And please welcome the President of the United States.
this is, everybody in the country watched this. That was a great pitch.
Thank you, Mr. President.
People start chanting USA, USA. That's a big, really the whole USA, USA chant. It really became a thing after 9/11. All right, so back to our question. What characteristics do leaders need? We've had some good ones, really good ones so far. What else?
Like compassion.
Compassion. And that, to me, that goes right in line with emotional intelligence and empathy. It's having compassion. Really just loving and feeling people's pain. Thank you. Adaptability, and I'll add to that flexibility, just kind of able to adapt. These are new situations. COVID was really a new situation for everybody, and you've got to be able to be flexible and adapt to a lot of unknowns. Excellent. Anything else? So one that I think we have not done great at this, folks, as a society. Critical thinking. And this kind of goes with a little bit what we're already saying. This flexibility and stuff is being able to just look at a situation and take, you've got to have the emotional intelligence to understand what people are feeling, but then you've also got to take some emotion out of it and just make good logical decisions. You can get good data, make good decisions based off of good data. This is our time for memes because there's so many memes. There's way too many. This is our president at the time. If we stopped testing right now, we'd have very few cases. By doing all this testing, we make ourselves look bad. True story. He said, let's stop testing. And we looked, yeah, that's what he said. Let's stop testing and then we won't have a lot of COVID. And then this approach, other governors and stuff, this was in Hawaii. So you're telling me you're going to release prisoners to avoid the spread of COVID-19, but anyone caught outside their house during a stay-at-home order, you're going to arrest. That was Hawaii, right there, with our Democratic Governor Ige. This was a time with the protests. Somebody mentioned the protests. And we're supposed to be stay at home and our masks, and these protests are spreading. Social distancing doesn't apply to protests, and I feel like a criminal if I go up the wrong aisle in the grocery store, wrong direction in the aisle. We lost. I wasn't always super impressed with our critical thinking. This one, if you guys remember, started out saying, don't wear a mask, it's not going to make a difference. Then you need to get an N95 mask, and then they said, oh, just any cloth will do, make your own, sew your own, and this kind of stuff, we lost some faith in our government. And the reason we're having a hard time getting people to do vaccines now is because some of this, it's the effect of some of this losing faith in our government, not trusting them completely. I'm going to add to this. Another one that I think is a big deal is humility. Leaders need to have humility. And that's interesting because as people, we don't love our leaders to have humility. We want them to know the way and lead us, and we'll follow. You got to have the plan and we'll follow you. We don't like having a leader who is humble and says, I don't know. We don't know what's going on here. We just don't like that. We want a confident and a leader that we can follow with a vision. But leaders have to have humility. Trump didn't have a lot of humility. Biden as well. I have a plan. So he's running for president. I have a plan to do the coronavirus. And then more recently, folks, there's nothing I can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic for several months. And so as a leader, you've got to be humble. You might end up in this situation. And this kind of is an extreme, but that's kind of what happened. No one should panic. Coronavirus is not that serious. Shortly thereafter, Earth is closed today. You guys lived it. So as a leader, you got to have humility. So I think we kind of talked, strong communication is critical, projecting confidence. Any others you want to add? And you guys added a few of your own as well. What do leaders need? Characteristics. And these are through kind of unprecedented times. There's no history to go back and read how to do it because this is a new. George Bush in 9/11, We just kind of hadn't been attacked like that on our homeland. Pearl Harbor is a little bit of a close comparison, but otherwise, the pandemic really was a brand new thing for the world. How it played out and all the social media, you know, and just trying to figure out. And it's still playing out. Thoughts on President Coway making the decision to, I guess I'll say President Coway and our board of directors making the decision to require vaccinations. What do you guys think then? What do you think now? Pardon?
I liked it.
You liked it? Okay. Some didn't. Anybody wanna, this is a safe space.
Oh, I didn't agree with it because like they made it sound like the medical exemption to getting it was gonna be so easy. If you have a doctor that tells you, like my doctor told me, I don't think it's a good idea for you to get it, he didn't recommend it. So I applied for the exemption and they still rejected me, so I had to just make that risk and.
Good, others?
Yeah, I thought that we should have been allowed to make our own choice and be able to critically think about it and weigh the options and then choose ourselves.
Good, thank you. Others? Thank you both. This is good. Yes?
I agree with that because even like when the church released their thing and they said that they like thought everybody should get vaccinated, like after like responding to people's to that, like a lot of people were mad about it and a lot of people were supportive about it. It's kind of split, but I just had to trust you to like make a careful decision about it. And I feel like since this is a church school, like it had to be connected to that, but it would be like each person would have to think about it and like decide on their own. But I get that it's more complicated because like you're dealing with the government and other things. Like I don't know, the Hawaiian government is super strict about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we like make up a large population on other people's property and stuff that like I don't
Sure.
know, it would get more complicated than that. But.
Thank you, and that's, we're gonna talk just a second about what characteristics do followers need to have. And one of them is recognizing kind of a broader perspective. You know, it's easy, what do I want, what's good for me, what's gonna keep me safe, but then, and it's hard to, there's other factors that the leaders are considering as well. Good, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody, I'm curious, any of our international students that were here a year and a half ago and saw what was your feeling on the vaccination requirement?
Well, so I was here when they sent everybody home and our borders were closed. And so we were told, go find a relative in the mainland and meet them. Just send us your address, phone number, whatever we contact you. But we couldn't go. We don't have any family out there. And so we wrote an appeal to remain here at TVA. So the whole time we were always here at TVA, our family. And it's been a long time since we left home and not seeing our family. We planned for them to come for our graduation, my wife's graduation, but we got locked down in New Zealand, so they just ended up here for months, 10 months, then they finally could go home. And when the vaccination came, we thought, obviously, good idea to take it. And so when the school told us, you can be vaccinated for free. And that will help you probably in the future to be able to go around and not be staying at home all the time, lockdown. So we thought, this is the best idea to take it. So we never disagreed with anything the school told us.
Good, thank you. Other perspectives. This is good. I love getting, because there are differing viewpoints, and part of emotional intelligence is good. Anybody else? I got called as the bishop of YSA 13th Ward, which is the Hollies, in November. And we had, when I first got called, we had like 15 members of the ward that were here on the island, in the dorms, And from the middle-ish of March until October sometime, the students were told, you have to stay in your unit. You can't go visit your neighbor unit. You can't go out in the courtyard and hang out. You have to go and stay in your unit except to go to CAF. And CAF was a line, everybody 6 feet apart. You scan your card, you walk through, you get your plate of food and a water bottle, and you walk out and you walk back to your Holly unit and you eat. And you could go to CAF to get your food every day, and you could go to your campus job or PCC job. And that was it. No social, no nothing for 6 months or something. It was quite an extended time. I got called as bishop. They were just starting to be able to get out and do a little bit. And so when President Coway, he came in July, in the middle of that time, and that's what he saw, and that was a perspective, I think that drove some of his decision. Like, if we want to have school, real school, now, everybody's got to be vaccinated. We're in a unique place. We can't, Utah and BYU shut down, everybody jumped in cars and caught rides and went home and complained about whether or not they're going to get their rent back. And here, there's borders closed, and it's a different scenario. So, did President Coway make the right decision and the board? To me, it looks pretty wise decision. We'll see, because right now we got the Delta variant. We don't know 6 months, a year from now, we just don't know. History will tell if this was a good decision or not. But we gotta do that. We gotta do that. Let's go a little bit more. We got a few more minutes. Characteristics do followers need? Quickly.
Humility. Sorry.
Humility.
I would say flexibility.
Flexibility as well. Good.
I would say critical thinking as well.
Critical thinking. Of course, we're going to have a few memes about critical thinking. Coronavirus logic. Coronavirus contains Corona. Corona is a Mexican beer. Mexican beer contains Mexican water. Mexican water can give you Montezuma's revenge, diarrhea. Therefore, you need to buy all the toilet paper. The curve is flattening. We can stop social distancing. The parachute has slowed my fall. I can take it off now. Your COVID test is positive. It can't be. I have 300 rolls of toilet paper. And then my body, my choice when it comes to abortion. Vaccination should be mandatory. 2 sides. Good. So it's been sad how we've lost some critical thinking. The emotions are just driving so much, unfortunately. What else? A couple more minutes. We need to give our leaders space to make mistakes. They're figuring it out. This is unprecedented. There's no step-by-step what to do. They're gonna make mistakes. They're figuring it out. We've got to let them. And that's hard. I get it. It's easy to say, it's really hard to do, because we crave that security of knowing that we've got a leader who will save us from 9/11, from the pandemic. But we've got to just let them make some mistakes. They're going to. We've got to let them. The back and forth on the masks, they're learning. They're still learning. They're trying to figure it out as they go. And they're getting data, and they get test results and everything, and vaccinations and everything else, and they use the data they have, and okay, this is what it looks like. And 3 weeks later, they've got more data, and it's starting to look a little different now. We've got to let them, we've got to give them that space to learn, to make mistakes. And it's hard, but it's something that we've got to do. A couple other things: humility, adaptability, having that broad perspective. I forget who brought that up. Empathy, compassion for each other. So kind of that emotional intelligence, we need to have it for each other. And then give leaders space to make mistakes. 1 minute left. Any final thoughts, comments? Okay, thank you, everybody. Enjoyed your time. I enjoyed my time with you today.
That was an enjoyable class. I liked the memes. It was fun.